Most people who are being stuck aren't lazy, more the opposite. They're exhausted from doing everything they were told and still falling short. Work harder, save more, invest early, be responsible. You follow the rules, do the right thing, and somehow freedom feels just as far away as when you started. The gap between effort and real progress is where most lives quietly stall. The author Morgan Housel doesn't offer hype. He also doesn't promise shortcuts. What he gives you is even more important. The truth about why smart, hardworking people still lose the wealth and happiness they're chasing. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 lessons from his book, The Psychology of Money, that rewired how I see success, risk, and freedom. These lessons make me realize that success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what aligns with who you want to become. Let's start with the first idea and play out a scenario. You're given two options. Option A. You get 1 million today, and that amount doubles once every month for 12 months. Option B, you get 1 cent today, and that cent doubles every day for a full year. Most people would race for option A. And I mean, it's not surprising. $1 million doubling monthly? Sign me up. So let's play it out. Option A, doubling monthly. Month 1, 1 million. Month 2, 2 million. Month 3, 4 million. By month 12, you're sitting on just over 2 billion. That's very impressive. But now let's run option B.
Day 1, $0.01. Day 2, $0.02. Day 3, $0.04. Day 10, $5.12. Day 20, $5,242.88. Day 30, $5.3 million. That's already more than option A gave you in the first few months. But keep going. Day 40, $5.5 billion. Day 50, $5.6 trillion. Day 60, $5.76 quadrillion. And by day 100, you're holding over $1.27 million. One followed by 30 zeros. And on day 365, your balance has 108 zeros, beyond the global money supply.
Morgan Housel puts it perfectly. Our minds are not built to handle the reality that compounding leads to logic-defying results. And that's the lesson here. Compounding doesn't look exciting at first. It looks boring and slow and almost invisible. But give it time and it will grow beyond your expectations, and you will wonder why you ever chased that fast money. It's the quiet superpower that rewards patience and not perfection. But compounding can only work if you stop falling into the next trap. We've all been tempted to copy someone else's winning strategy. You scroll through social media and suddenly everyone's making a fortune on crypto, flipping houses, or buying into the next big thing. They look confident and the gains look real. And your own plan, it starts to feel slow or small or even wrong. Or worse, you throw it out entirely to chase someone else's momentum. Morgan Housel has some wise words for us here. Compounding doesn't rely on earning big returns. Merely good returns sustained uninterrupted for the longest period of time will always win. If your plan makes you panic every time the market hiccups, it's not sustainable. If you're constantly reacting to other people's wins, you're playing the wrong game. Copying someone else's move without understanding their goals, their mindset, and their timelines is like borrowing their prescriptive glasses and wondering why you can't see straight. So before you follow the next trend, ask yourself, can I actually sleep at night with this strategy? Can I stick with it when things get boring or tumultuous? Because wealth isn't built by momentum. It's built by holding ground when others scatter. But even holding your ground won't save you from the next step, because sometimes the real risk doesn't come from chasing others. It comes after you start winning. Everyone dreams about this big break, your first 100K, your first major investment win, your business finally taking off. And when it happens, it feels unreal, like you have cracked the code. But here's what most people don't realize. The real challenge isn't getting wealthy. It's staying that way. It happens all the time. Someone saves smart, builds momentum, and stays consistent. And then one good year convinces them that the rules don't apply to them anymore. They overreach, they chase faster wins, they gamble what took years to build, and lose it in months. As Morgan Housel states it, getting more money is one thing, keeping it is another. And it's true. Momentum makes you feel invincible, but the moment you trust momentum over discipline, you stop being careful. And that's when wealth turns fragile, because once you've built something real, the entire game changes. It's not about going faster, but it's about to protect what took years to earn. Let's jump to the next one, because that's where the real danger begins, not from the outside, but from you. The idea of more can feel like an endless chase. More money, more success, more possessions. For years I thought achieving my goals meant having everything that I didn't have. But when I finally hit a point where I said enough, that's where everything changed. The moment I stopped chasing more for the sake of it, I found sense in wealth that wasn't tied to numbers or status. I realized that enough wasn't meeting some external benchmark. It was about being content with where I was and what I had, even before hitting every goal. It was also about enjoying the journey rather than solely focus on the outcome. Morgan Housel puts it this way: the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. And honestly, that made me pause, because if your expectations rise with your results, you'll never feel satisfied, no matter how much you achieve. The truth is, most people don't go broke by chasing needs. They go broke chasing their wants disguised as needs and never really outlining what enough means for them. When you get clear on that, you stop measuring success by what you're still missing and start recognizing what you've already built. Because knowing you're enough and actually sticking to it might just be the most underrated wealth skill of them all. Success feels amazing until it starts whispering you figured everything out. A few years ago, I had a win that changed my entire confidence. It felt like I had found a magic formula. And without realizing it, I would assume that this formula would work again and again. But spoiler alert, it didn't. Morgan Housel puts this into perspective. Past success can breed overconfidence and blind spots. What worked before might not work again. Success teaches you what worked once, but rarely what's changing, what you missed, or what no longer applies. Markets shift, timing changes, even your own needs evolve. So if you treat old wins as proof for future mastery, you will stop learning. You skip the details and you trust instinct over evidence. And that's exactly when things break. It's not about doubting yourself. It's about updating your map and staying humble and staying curious. Because with money and also in life, yesterday's wins don't guarantee tomorrow's peace. I used to have this toxic rule in my head. If it doesn't show results in 30 days, it's not even worth doing. That rule, it kept me broke, stressed, and stuck in restart mode. I would jump from workout to workouts, diet to diet, and app to app, chasing anything that promised quick results. And when things didn't explode immediately, I would just quit. But one day I realized something super important. Every meaningful thing that has changed my life started slow. Daily walks, quiet investing, showing up. Even when no one noticed. That's what actually moved the needle. Morgan Housel explains this with a powerful reminder. Compounding works best when you can give a plan years or decades to grow. This is true for not only savings, but careers and relationships. Endurance is key. So it's not about speed, it's about endurance. You don't need 10 weeks, you just need one habit. Repeat it consistently, because ultimately flashy fades, but quiet, boring progress, and that's what creates success and peace of mind. And speaking of peace of mind, I wanted to thank Magic Mind for sponsoring this video. When they first reached out to me, I'll be honest, I was a bit skeptical. So before saying yes, I decided to try it out for myself. And I have to say, it's a great alternative, especially if you don't like coffee or energy drinks, or you just want to cut down on caffeine. It actually tastes more like a juice, and it comes in these cute little bottles. You feel the effect right after, or at least I felt the effect right after. It's a blend of 12 super ingredients clinically proven to support a sharper mind, lower stress, and better energy. Because in the afternoon, I usually hit a slump and go for another coffee. With Magic Mind, I could actually stay focused without worrying it would mess with my sleep. So if you want to try it out for yourself, there is a link in the description box below, and you can also use my code Taje20 to get 20% off. And now back to the next lesson. It's easy to assume that wealth always looks impressive, but real life tells a different story. The people with the most freedom usually aren't flashing it. They're the ones driving ordinary cars, wearing simple clothes, living below the radar while quietly building real assets. In The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel wrote, "Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money." Most people confuse being rich with looking rich. But real wealth, you can't actually see it. It's the money not spent, the freedom to walk away from a job, the time to pick your kids up from school without asking permission, the security of knowing you'll be okay even if things go wrong. On social media, wealth looks like designer bags and upgraded cars. In real life, wealth looks like an ordinary person with extraordinary options. And that's the shift Morgan Housel teaches so well. Wealth isn't about flexing. It's about freedom. Once you see that wealth is quiet, invisible, and often unrecognized, you start asking different questions. Because now it's not about looking rich, it's about staying free. But that kind of freedom doesn't just come from one smart move. It comes from how you play the long game. Let's talk about that one next. A lot of people bounce between two extremes. They either hoard cash like the world is ending, or throw everything into investments, hoping it will save them. No middle ground, just survival mode or blind faith. But Morgan Housel actually offers a better path. Save like a pessimist, invest like an optimist. Saving is about defense because it's your buffer, it's your breathing room. It is what keeps the lights on when things go wrong. Investing is offense. It's how you grow and how you build a future without just getting by. If you only save, inflation quietly eats your progress. If you only invest, one bad dip can wreck your peace. But when you balance both, that's where real power builds. Not overnight, but quietly over time. But even with the perfect save-invest balance, there's one thing that still breaks people down, and it has nothing to do with numbers. I'll be honest, I used to spend hours on researching the best ETF, comparing expense ratios, tracking past performance, and running numbers in spreadsheets like I was Warren Buffett's intern. And during all that time, I was still leaking money on things that I didn't need. I thought financial success was about being smart with financial math. That's also why I decided to study business administration with a major in investment and finance. But what Morgan Housel teaches, and what hits me actually the most, is that it's not about the numbers. It's about behavior. Because no spreadsheet matters if you can't stick to the plan. No perfect investment strategy works if your emotions hijack it halfway through. And no budgeting app saves you if you're still impulse buying out of boredom or stress. So Morgan puts it like this. Doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. In other words, wealth doesn't come from outsmarting everyone. It comes from outbehaving them. Quietly, consistently, and that for years. You don't need the fanciest tools. You need boring consistency, strong habits, and the ability to stay calm when everyone else is freaking out. That's what separates financial peace from financial chaos. The richest moment of my life, it wasn't hitting some savings goal or buying some expensive item that I had on my wish list. It was the day I turned down a promotion because I didn't need the money. No stress, no guilt, just a thanks but I'm good. Morgan Housel calls this the highest form of wealth. The ability to wake up and say, I'll do what I want today. Not in a rebellious, dramatic way, like a teenager throwing a tantrum, but in a peaceful, quiet way. The freedom to say yes or no, to take a break, to take a risk, to walk away. Real wealth isn't about more stuff. It's more about fewer compromises. It's the ability to spend time on what matters and not just on what pays. Morgan Housel wrote, controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays. And he's right. That's the goal. Not the car, not the watch, not the approval. Just time, energy, and choice. All yours. If that's the kind of life you want to design, watch this video next. If you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell as well as the subscribe button, and join the community as it grows. So see you next time. Bye!